What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Jonathan Rosales from C Turtle Mindset. Super excited that you're here today for another book review. The book that we're going to be covering, I'm super blessed to have it. When I saw it at the thrift store. It was brand spanking new, and what caught my attention wasn't necessarily the title, The Happiness Paradox. What caught my title was, when I usually grab books, I read the back of the book to see what it's about. But when I read the back of the book, guess what? There's another book. Check that out. So it's 2 in 1. So that's why I'm excited. I just read the first book. So I read The Happiness Paradox. I'm currently on The Happiness Paradigm, but today we're covering The Happiness Paradox. So I'll see you on the inside. Alright, and we're back. So let's jump right in and let's just talk about what the author is speaking within this book. Highly recommend it. I think that I say that all the time, but I do. I really honestly do highly recommend these books if you want to go to the next level. So, The Happiness Paradox, Richard Eyre is a best-selling author, and he speaks about, in his book, the first book of the two of this, I guess you could say, double entendre. And I can relate this in my personal life, and I don't know if you can relate it with yourself, but when you're looking for positivity, if you're looking to be more happier, I've read a lot of books where it just says, oh, look within and the power of happiness is in there. You just have to be happy to be happy. And sometimes, honestly, it's just a bunch of garbage. Why? Because we need some practicality. We need to know why we're unhappy. And so what I liked about this author was that he went to the root cause. The very things we thought would bring us joy are actually stealing it away. There's actually 3 things that you're going to learn that are deceitful and that are the thieves of joy, is like how the author is trying to portray. And so the purpose of writing the 2 books is the author, like what he says, and actually this book, this is the size of the first book, and this is the size of the second book. So you can tell there's a difference in importance. And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying don't take this lightly, but when I grabbed the book and I was ready to open it, I said, okay, what side is first? Because in theory, this side is the front and this is the back. Why? Because of the barcode. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna read the first book, right? However, this is the reason why I grabbed the book, was because of that word paradigm. And for those who don't know what a paradigm is a multitude of habits that determine how we act and behave, and also how we think. Paradigms are a multitude of beliefs that, in theory, equal to our self-image. And so that's why I grabbed it. And I was like, you know what? I've been studying paradigms, specifically Bob Proctor. I'll put some links below so you can watch it. 100%. I've been studying this man and what he teaches, and honestly, it's made me become a better person, a better son, a better partner, a better overall human being. And so the 3 concepts that he speaks about, it's so interesting because those 3 concepts, no matter what area of your life you're in, or what area or what phase of life that you're in, what age group you're in, you can see that all these 3 concepts really do have a big deal in our life. And what he says is, see, we're always in the pursuit of happiness. We're always in the pursuit of that joy. And we were born as balls of joy. Have you ever heard the term, oh, the babies are balls of joy? And that's how we were born. Let's just keep it real. We were all babies once. And when we were babies, we were just balls of joy. All we knew was to have fun. We would laugh. And the only reason why we cried or why we had fits was because we were hungry, cranky, with not enough sleep, frustrated because we had a dirty diaper, and we got spanked a little. I got a little spanking because I was being bad. But other than that, we were always joyful. We were always laughing. We were always in great mood. And so what happens throughout our life, we grow out of that. We learn that joy is an emotion that we don't have at all times. And what the book's saying is that what we've been taught by society is to value these three concepts that are honestly stealing our joy, because what we are thinking is that if we get this, we'll be happy. Or if we get that, I'll have joy, or I'll have that experience. And so it was interesting what the three concepts were. And when I finally saw and read about them, it just made sense. It made so much sense that I started to reevaluate my goals based on if it was based on these concepts, or if it was really based on other true values that are not as deceitful and not as draining as these three concepts are. And if you're wondering what these three concepts are, get ready, because I'm about to tell you right now. Concept number one is control. Controlling the situation, controlling your day, planning the day, going according to plan. And when things don't go according to plan, you have a shit show. Excuse my language. But when things don't go, when I make my plans and they don't go according to plans, I get frustrated. Why? Because I want them to go my way, right? That's the concept of control. And so if you, in actuality, we'll never have the control that we want, because in theory, there are things that are completely out of control. Like right now, it's raining. I can't control that. But because it's raining, I can't do activities that if I would planned had to be done outside and it's raining, I can't do it. So I'll give you an example, like painting a house. You can't paint a house when it's raining. But you can't get frustrated, because life is, you can't always have fully control. And so what the author speaks about is that concept of control becomes so ingrained in us, it becomes a belief that we're always looking to control more, control situations, controlling your kids, controlling your spouses. And see, you have to understand that there is a certain level of control that you can have, but you can't obsess over it. And that's what happens, that we lose the perspective that we truly don't have control of everything, and we truly only have control to a certain limited amount of things. And it's okay. That's what the author is trying to say, that because you try to control the situation, or you try to control your life, you're actually draining so much energy on controlling that you're not even having fun, or you're not even enjoying the moment or enjoying life, because you're so uptight and trying to control everything. You're a control freak, right? And so that's concept number one. And it's obviously the purpose of the first book is to reveal what's draining our happiness, so that he can open up your mind and have a foundation of where our unhappiness is coming from. And so the first pillar of unhappiness that I like to say would be control. The second concept is ownership. Now, where does ownership come from? Well, in America, we have a free enterprise. And so, we have the ability to own land. We have the ability to own houses. We have the ability to own cars. And so this concept of ownership has become a paradigm in our society that eventually becomes a paradigm to yourself, that ownership is what you're always striving for. For example, I would like to own a home one day, and that ownership, owning a home, creates this pride within you because it's yours. But here's the thing, and this is what the author kind of opens up, is he says, in theory, when we die, everything that we own doesn't come with us. See, we don't even own these bodies. We're temporarily renting them. We're spiritual beings going through a human experience. We're here temporary. And that's not from the book. That's from the wisdom that I've gained from mentors, and also a lot of meditation and downloading information that I've gotten. So in theory, we don't have ownership. And so because we get so caught up in that idea, that we always want to own things. Like, I want to own materialistic items. I want to own nice things. I want to have. And so we grow up wanting to have more and more and more. And that creates frustration within yourself because you'll never have enough if you're always thinking about owning, right? And so that also breeds envy. That also breeds comparison, looking at the other guy, looking on the other side of the grass, and seeing what they got, and ooh, that looks nice. I'd like to have that too. And so ownership kind of creates this misconception that you gotta have more, you gotta own more, and so that also drains you from happiness. It's one of the leading causes of unhappiness if you're always comparing yourself to what other people own, or if you don't own enough. And so the third, and this is where it literally just smacked me across the head. I was like, all right, I understand control. Okay, I didn't have a full concept of ownership. I realized, wow, I do want to own things, but it's not that it's a bad thing to control. It's not a bad thing to own, because obviously growing up as children, right, our parents are teaching us how to control our emotions, how to control our tempers, and that's what the author says is okay. But we take it over and we don't outgrow that, right? And then the second thing is ownership, being responsible, becoming self-reliant on your own, like owning your shit, right? And so you have to outgrow that. Once you've learned how to control your emotions, how to control your thoughts, how to control your reactions, how to own up to yourself, how to be responsible, you're able to grow up. So it's a phase that some of us never grow out of because we have the misconception that these things are the actual things that will lead us to happiness, that will lead us to joy. And the third thing where it just knocked it out the park, I was like, you know what? I gotta listen to what this guy had to say, is independence. And see, I'm in business for myself because I want to become financially independent. And see, the problem, and what the author says is, it starts with the letter I in independence. It's the idea of I. And see, if you rewind that back, you can hear me say, I want to have financial independence for me. It's all about me, being independent. But in actuality, we cannot be fully independent. We are social creatures, right? We're interdependent. You see, we're going through this crazy time right now, during this pandemic, this COVID-19, this coronavirus. I personally don't give it energy. However, I do acknowledge that it is in the world. And one thing that I realize is this social distancing, this being in the home more than I am more comfortable with. I realized, wow, like, just being social, just being able to go out to have a nice dinner, or having a beer at a bar, or even meeting new people at networking events, how vital it is to have social interactions, because it just feeds you. It gives you energy being around people. And what the author says is we have to move from a mindset from independence to interdependent, because at the end of the day, the people that have more actually do more and give more, and they interact with other people. They connect. See, if you're independent and that's all you think about, you kind of turn it, you kind of attract loneliness. You attract being alone. You attract being by yourself, being, oh, I got this, it's all up to me. If it's up to me, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. But that financial independence, just independence in general, we become so prideful that saying, you know what, I got that because of me. But really dive into it. When it comes to having more out of life, and that can be more love, it can be more money, it can be more health, it really comes down to relationships, connectivity. Like, I'll give you an example. People who become financially independent, unless they invented something by themselves, most businesses only succeed because of other people. A perfect example. restaurants right now are shut down. And a lot of people will suffer. The business owners are going to suffer because they don't have people going into the business to eat, right? Unless they have a lot of volume coming out for dining out. But think about it. In order for things to work, there has to be relationships within there to make it work. Teamwork makes the dream work in everything. In churches, in business, in just in general in your life. Like, the people who are the unhappiest are people who have no relationships, don't have anybody to go to, and that's it. It's all about being together. And so when it came to independence, of the concept of independence, it was profound to really think that a lot of things that we do really are connected with a lot of people. And so for you to move on to the next level of your life, the next phase, you have to be able to understand that being stuck in that learning phase of control, ownership, and independence, you really won't have the true juice of joy and a true juice of happiness unless you're able to unlearn that stuff, use what you got, and move to the next level and the next three alternatives. And I'm not going to tell you the alternatives because the purpose, like the book said, is you have to read the paradox of happiness to understand what's holding you back from true happiness and true joy, for you to be able to understand and open your mind to the paradigm of happiness. And so to conclude this video, the author concludes the book, the first book, with the concept of, see, we're looking for the outside to come within to help us. You know, when we're trying to change ourselves, we're working on the exterior to help change the interior. However, you have to flip that around. What he says is you have to literally flip your concept of what you really believe what happiness is so that you can flip your life around. And that's why he made it. So you have to flip it over. Because sometimes in order to get your life right, you have to flip it upside down. So with that being said, I will look forward to making the other video of the second part, the second book, and reveal to you the three alternatives to receive more joy in your life. With that being said, that is the book review. I hope you got some value out of it. You already know, if you're a first timer, click right here to subscribe. If you're coming back to watch another book review, by all means share this idea with your friends and family. I'm always talking about spreading the wisdom, because when you spread the wisdom, you're able to help someone else cut their learning curve and gain more out of life, gain more understanding, more wisdom, for more health, wealth, love, and happiness, and definitely more longevity. I hope you enjoyed this video. From Sea Turtle Mindset, from yours truly, Jonathan Rosales. I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.